Welcome to Home Hive. My name is Kristen. I am here with Jennifer Cortez and Kalani from ADU Geeks. Jennifer, go ahead.
Kalani, so you're with ADU Geeks. Share with us a little bit more about what ADU Geeks is and how you got started.
Absolutely. So ADU Geeks is nothing more than a network of professionals who bring their passions to the table as it relates to ADUs, tiny homes, casitas, garage conversions, whatever you want to call it. We've got everything from draftsmen and architects and contractors and every subcontractor you could think of as part of this network. We even have interior designers and organizers, which has proven to be very, very helpful when doing things like garage conversions. My personal story as it relates to ADUs and why ADU Geeks exists today starts with my father's project all the way up in Riverside. One day, we were just in the backyard throwing around some horseshoes. And I said, Dad, do you ever think about creating a tiny home back here, building a tiny home back here? And he says, why in the heck would I do that? And I said, because you can rent it out and then cash flow. And with that extra cash flow, you can pay down your existing mortgage. And right then and there, the light bulbs went off in both my father and my stepmom. And I found myself in my very first ADU project. But having gone through that experience, I realized how big of a need this was. And I learned one day as I was driving down the 8 freeway, looking in people's backyards, like, why isn't everybody else doing this? And what I realized is it's one of two problems. Either A, folks don't know about the ADU opportunity, or B, they know about the opportunity, but they don't even know where to start. And so right then and there, ADU Geeks was born. I pulled in all of my colleagues, sat them down at the table, and I said, let's be part of the solution. Let's help address the housing crisis that we have here in California, and specifically San Diego. We're located in San Diego. Let's come to get together and unite as one and help each individual homeowner, one, understand what the ADU opportunity is, and then two, help them navigate through the journey in terms of building these tiny homes. So the thing that keeps us up at night is not just the ADUs itself, but it's the idea of helping these homeowners be part of the process of building their own homes. Let's face it, you as a homeowner, you probably bought your home as is. But every single one of us wishes that, like, how cool would it be to live in a house that you built yourself? Well, this is now their opportunity to do that. And that's all we're doing. So that's my story. And that's what ADU Geeks is, a network of ADU professionals.
Oh, Kalani, that's amazing. And the story absolutely resounds with all of us. That's why we're here today, because ADUs and housing is super important to us, super important to obviously everyone that's located in Southern California and specifically San Diego. So thanks for developing such an incredible company.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
So I have a question. What do you see as being the biggest benefit of adding an ADU to a property?
Great question. I see this as twofold. One is creating income, some extra income that you didn't have yesterday. Think about it. All that square footage in your backyard, what are you using it for? How much money are you earning with that square footage that you're not doing anything with? Or let's talk about your garage. That car that you have parked in your garage, that garage, if we converted it into a small livable space, depending on where you're at, that could be anywhere from $900 of rental income all the way upwards of $1,400 of rental income, depending. So that extra cash flow that you would have every single month is what the benefit is of these ADUs. The other benefit is what I like to call ROI, return on investment. So the thought process is all that cash flow that you're going to earn every single month, after you pay all of your expenses, after you pay the financing costs, how much money are you going to earn on your initial investment? That's your ROI. And so what I'm seeing here in the San Diego area, every market is different within San Diego, but I'm seeing numbers of anywhere from 150% ROI all the way up to 500%, depending on where you're at. So with those kinds of numbers, really what I'm saying is, as a homeowner, I literally cannot afford to not build an ADU. Otherwise, I'm throwing money away, right? So twofold. The rental income, which therefore creates cash flow, which leads to ROI, return on investment. And then there's the idea of the increased value of your property, right? Like, I know ADUs are fairly new and appraisers are learning how to find comps on ADUs, which is a whole nother conversation, whole nother podcast. But by and large, if the cost of construction for an ADU here in San Diego on average is anywhere from $250 to $350 per square foot, let's just use a $250 number. If the cost of construction is $250 per square foot, but the average retail cost per square foot in your area is $350 per square foot, that net difference of $100, that is essentially the increase of value, increased equity that you are building just by building this ADU. So those three things is the money maker. Those three things is the true benefit of these ADUs. And then the last piece that I hadn't even talked about is the benefit to our community. The spirit and intent of ADUs was really to address the housing crisis. Right now, I think the last number I saw was we need about 40,000 more homes just to keep up with today's demand. That's not even talking about tomorrow's demand, right? So homeowners have an opportunity to be part of the solution and help create these homes so that we can keep up with the demand, all the while making some extra income for themselves. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. And ADU Geeks, with our network of professionals, we're simply just trying to facilitate the right solution for both the homeowner and our community.
So it's there's a few different parts to this. Is obviously there's an incredible ROI. The numbers absolutely speak for themselves, but then also the additional benefit, not only to the homeowner, but then to the community, and helping to increase the amount of units, homes in Southern California to really help, meet that need now. And then also whether, a homeowner decides to rent it out and or house elderly family or transitioning kids. The unit itself, the ADU, can be used so many different purposes, and that's all ROI.
That's right. And I love the way you put that, because it isn't always just about the numbers, as I explained. There's also all those reasons to build an ADU that you just explained, Jennifer. So thank you for clarifying that. It's about family. It's about the opportunity. It's about the potential of what could be, right? And in the spirit of just creating abundance for ourselves and for the community, ADUs is the right answer.
Well, the numbers do speak for themselves, but at the same time too is that, once an ADU is built, it doesn't necessarily just have one use. It's not just, it could be your rental property for or one of your rental units for, the next 10 years. If something happened with your parent, with aging parents, well, you can rent it out for as long as you can, and then you have, another option for your aging parents, years down the road. So,
you can have your aging parents in the ADU, or you can have a caretaker in the ADU.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh, Kalani.
Exactly. So, or not just aging parents, but let's say you're a working professional and you're always on the go. And so you need a live-in nanny. I remember when I was a kid, we had a live-in nanny.
Yeah.
So now we can put that live-in nanny in the ADU, right?
Good.
So I can't think of one reason why a homeowner would not do this ADU unless they maybe they don't have the financing. Maybe they can't qualify for the financing. But if you're listening to this podcast, what I would want to tell a homeowner, what I would want a homeowner to hear is don't disqualify yourself, because there are so many ways that you can put together an ADU project, whether it's financing. There's so many different lending vehicles out there, so many great lenders out there that really want to get behind these ADUs and help you, right? So don't disqualify yourself. But sometimes, like, you don't even know how much these things are going to cost, right? So have somebody.
So actually, no. So I'm sorry, Kalani, finish your thought.
No, I was going to say, have somebody come out to your property and talk to you about your ADU vision.
So if Kristen and I, or, one of our viewers is interested in taking steps further, and steps further can be a few different ways, is like, how do I actually get started? And then also at the same time, it's going to help to also educate them a little bit more. But say that they're interested in an ADU for their property, or they're out right now in the process of looking to buy their next property, whether it's primary or rental. What's the next step for them to do in really contacting ADU Geeks, and what does that look like?
Well, in terms of contacting ADU Geeks, you can go to our website, adugeeks.com, or just give us a call directly. And you're not going to get an answering machine. You will get one of us who picks up the phone and actually talks to you. But regardless of what your situation is, whether you're buying a home and you want to know if if you can do an ADU on the property, or maybe you own the property already and you do want to do an ADU, you just want to know what the next steps are. That I would strongly suggest you have a company come out, walk your property, get a good feel for what your vision is, and help you understand what you can and cannot do on your property based off of certain zoning restrictions and all kinds of rules and regulations that there are out there, right? So in our world, what we would call that is a feasibility study. Have somebody come out to your property and do a feasibility study. They should be able to, because I know we at ADU Geeks, we can tell you what you can and can't do on your property, how big your ADU could be. We can help you take your vision and marry it up with all the different possibilities are. We're talking floor plans. Like, let's talk floor plans. What's that going to look like? And then let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is, how much is it going to cost? Let's talk about how much the cost of construction will be, which we call hard costs, versus your soft costs. Because when you talk to a contractor, they will tell you how much it's going to cost to build your ADU. But the thing that is often overlooked is how much the soft costs are going to be. And those are your design fees. Whether you have an architect or draftsman do your blueprints. What about your permit fees? What about your school fees and development impact fees and all these other fees that nobody talks about? You have to consider that. So these are things that you're going to want to know up front, to include, how long is this going to take? What's the whole process? We could pinpoint within a few weeks how long this process is going to be. The one area that nobody can estimate is how long it's going to take the city or the county to do their plans and issue permits. But outside of that, you should be able to get a good ballpark for how long this process is going to take, so that you can plan your own personal lives around it. And then last but not least is the rental income projections. How much are the financing costs going to be versus how much rental income you can make off these ADUs? What's your ultimate cash flow going to be? What's your ROI, your potential ROI going to look like? And that's the thing that you really want to hang your hat on when making the final decision. Do I want to build this ADU? So when we do our feasibility studies, I am proud to say that even though not 100% of our homeowners sign on with us to quarterback the whole ADU project, I am proud to say 100% of them walk away with their eyes wide open, fully understanding what the ADU journey for them is going to be. And they've now made an educated decision as to whether or not they're going to do it. Because I'll just share one quick horror story, right? Like, I've seen homeowners get into a project, they're $5,000-$10,000 into this thing, only to realize they can't do the ADU. But because somebody promised them that they could do this above garage ADU, as an example, that's what they were convinced on. That's what they wanted to do. And I had to be the one to tell them, like, it's not impossible, but it's not going to be done for the amount that you've been quoted. And here's why, right? So have a professional come out to your house, do a feasibility study, and get you going in the right direction so that you can have your eyes wide open when you start your ADU project.
Awesome. I love that. It's incredible how much information you get just from a feasibility study. The fact that you can dive really deep into the details on each property and, evaluate it to kind of come up with all these solutions for people, especially when it comes to the housing crisis. So that's really awesome. So how do people get started in the process with you?
Well, first they go to our website. You could either sign up and we'll return your call within the same day, or you can just give us a call directly. It just starts with a very simple conversation over the phone. And I'm happy to share whatever information I have with you over the phone. If it's in my head, it's free to you, right? That's our motto. We genuinely want to help.
What's that number, Kalani? What's that website and that number that we want to direct people to?
Yeah, so our website is adugeeks.com. We have a Facebook and Instagram. We're on all sorts of social media, but our website, again, is adugeeks.com. And my phone number, my direct line, is 619-249-7312. Let us come out and give you a hand. Let us have that initial conversation, and we'll see where it goes from there. We are more than happy to help you wherever you need help. We can do it all. We can help you get the financing you need, do the design phase, help you get the permits, get our contractors building your ADU. We can even property manage your ADU so that you don't have to. We literally do it all. However, if you come to us with blueprints already in hand, stamped plans, you just need a contractor, we can help. If you just want us to do the blueprints because you already have your own contractor, that's great too. We can still help. So whatever it is that you need, we're a one-stop shop. Literally, you deal with one person, our team, and then we do it all for you.
So just a quick point, and this is really to our audience, but just something really to keep in mind as ADUs are still newer in Southern California. You want to make sure that you're working with professionals such as Kalani at ADU Geeks who know what they're doing, who are well-versed, who understand the permitting, understand the financing piece. ADUs at times can be complicated, so make sure that you're working with the experts, people who understand, who also have resources in-house available to them, just so that you're being informed of the right information that at that time it can make or break the project that you want to go ahead with.
That's right.
All right. Well, we need to start wrapping up right now. I mean, we could probably spend an entire another episode just diving more into ADU Geeks, more into ADUs, the ROI, why they're so beneficial, not only to our region, which is San Diego and Southern California, but just really the nation as a whole and all different ways that they can be used. But most importantly, Kalani, in wrapping up, what do you want? What do you feel like is most important for our audience to know about ADU Geeks and or about ADUs?
The biggest thing I want any listener to know about ADUs is, again, you cannot afford to not do an ADU. This is a win-win situation. Give yourself the opportunity to at least explore the idea with somebody or you don't have to use ADU Geeks, but please reach out to somebody and explore the idea. We at ADU Geeks can do everything for you. The things that we haven't even talked about that we can do, property management is one thing, but then also things like from an accounting perspective, I'm a CPA, we could do things like cost segregation studies. So let us help you with that. And that will directly speak to how you can pay down the cost of your ADUs in such a fast pace that within the course of, 5, 6, 7 years, you've already got your ADU paid off for it. It pays for itself. So the one thing you don't want to do is go into these ADU projects all by yourself, because the alternative, like if you do that, you're going to find yourself having to vet so many different architects, so many different contractors, and it could be daunting. So what should take you anywhere from 4, 5, 6 months could actually end up taking you 9 months and cost you so many more dollars, right? So if you think hiring a professional is expensive, just go and hire an amateur. And it's, that's the truth of it. And that's what we're seeing out there. So ADUs is the way to go, whether we're calling it tiny homes, garage conversions, casitas, shishas, the list continues. But we're here to help.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Kalani, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Home Hive. We can't wait to have you on as a guest in the future and get to dive deeper into ADU Geeks, into ADUs, and maybe talk about a few projects too. So yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Look forward to being on again.
Thanks.